Mic check. One, two. Mic check. One, two. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Good morning to everyone out there. I say good evening because for people out in the West, it is 7:48 p.m. in Chicago, in my hometown. Although I'm currently living in Manila, where it is Friday, January 16th, 9:48 a.m. Hi, everyone. Nice to see you. Welcome to another accountability live stream. What is an accountability live stream? This is a place where I will share with you all my accountability in terms of where I'm at fasting wise, weight wise, what I've been eating, how I've been feeling, if I'm having a good day or a bad one. I am here to show up regardless. I am here to be transparent. I am here to be honest and not run away, not hide in shame or embarrassment or guilt or in secrecy. That is why I do these accountability live streams. It is important for me to be upfront and honest about what I'm doing because I know that when I hide, when I'm having a bad day and don't want to show up, that's when things get worse. And so, as I am sitting here right now, being accountable, being vulnerable, this is also an opportunity for you to do the same. If you've noticed in chat, people are chatting away, sharing their progress, sharing the good and the bad. Let me remind you of how important it is to share both. It's very easy to share the good, and there's nothing wrong with that. I love to hear when people are doing good, but it's also important to show up even when you don't want to. And that's the title of today's topic is you suck at fasting or why you suck at fasting. And clickbait titles aside, it's not that you necessarily suck at fasting. It's more so that your approach at it does. Your system on how to fast probably does. But I'll get into that in a bit. In the meantime, let me just say hi to people here in chat. Peace to all. Lynn, Maggie May, A Core family, Deja, who I'll just show this up here right now. Deja says, today is my 27th birthday. Happy birthday, Deja. I celebrated early at Christmas while I was out of ketosis, and today just eating in maintenance for a little splurge. Added an extra big coffee and protein shake for a treat. Happy birthday to you, Deja. Even as Deja says this is a really good example, again, of somebody who is using other weight loss levers outside of fasting to get or stay or reach their goals. Not just focusing on fasting forever, but also being very cognizant of how they're eating, how much they're eating. I'm also guessing how long Deja is refeeding for, exercise involved, so on and so forth. Happy birthday to you, Deja. Kevin, hello. I don't know if I said hello to you yet, but hello again, if not, or if so. The writers, how's it going? Who else is in here? Judy, put on the tiara. Lucas, Andrew, Randall. I might have said these names twice because I can't remember all the names I said earlier. Happy Bunny, hello, welcome. Nice to see you all here. So let's get into it. Why do you think you might suck at fasting? Have you had a moment where there are days where you're just like, I don't know how some of these people do it. I don't know how some of these people can even go through an entire day. I used to fast long before, and now I suck at it. Is that you? Because I'll tell you right now, it's not that you necessarily suck at fasting. Like I said earlier, it's more so your approach when it comes to that. Hi, Millie Mel. Nice to see you in chat. I have some slides to share, and we will get into that right now. So, you don't suck at fasting. You don't. Your approach does. And one of those big reasons that you might think you suck at it is because you are expecting perfection every time. You are telling yourself, I am going to fast for 42 hours, 72 hours, 96 hours, 168 hours. I'm going to fast for a week. You're expecting perfection the moment you do not hit that number. You are expecting perfection because for some reason you think today is going to be your day. You don't suck at it. Your approach does. I'll say that again. You do not suck at fasting. Your approach does. The way you go about it does. The way you build your system for it is the part that sucks. This is like learning any other habit. If I told you that I had not lifted weights in a year and that tomorrow I wanted to go to the gym and bench press 300 pounds, that's not going to happen. That is expecting perfection in a way, or expecting these huge results when you know most likely that is not going to happen. But Jerome, I fasted before. I've done it before. Okay, that's great. I love that for you. But not every day is going to be that day. Not every day are we going to push a 7-day fast just because we want to do so, because we feel motivated to do so. I'm not saying that you can't. I'm not saying this to challenge you unless you find it motivating and you can healthily do it. I am just saying your approach at this sucks, because one of the questions I have for a lot of people that I coach is, okay, but what have you been doing? So for example, if someone says, Jerome, I used to fast this long. I used to do rolling 90s like you. Okay, when was the last time you did rolling 90s? It was like a year ago. What were you doing between now and a year ago? And usually there's not much of an answer to that. Well, I haven't really been doing much. I haven't really been fasting. I haven't really. Your approach at it sucks. And I'm not saying you have to do rolling 90s in that last year. What I'm saying is there should still be some effort on your health and wellness journey during that time. Because you're only fasting when you're motivated. Who's in here right now who can admit to that? The only time you really find yourself fasting is when you're motivated. Yes or no? And if many of you are in here because you have learned to stop expecting perfection every day, kudos to you. I appreciate you understanding how imperfect consistency works, because motivation does not equal consistency. Motivation does not equal consistency. Motivation does not equal consistency. You are waiting for the quote unquote right day. You're waiting for Monday. Listen, it is Thursday evening for people in the States right now. It's Friday morning here. But how many of you have already given up the week? How many of you have already said, I'm just going to wait until Monday? How many of you have said that? How many of you said, not today, let's start on Monday? Let's start, I know it's Deja's birthday. Let's start after my birthday. But look at Deja. It's not like Deja is just giving up completely, throwing everything away, still putting some effort in. Stop waiting for the right day. When it comes to what we're doing, a lot of us quit, a lot of us give up, a lot of us turn away when we are in discomfort. I don't like the way this feels. Oh God, I'm feeling so hungry. I just don't want to do this right now. Listen, there's a difference. There's a hard line from quitting and turning around and doing absolutely nothing to still doing something imperfect. You know why? Because imperfect days still count. Being imperfect is okay. Accepting imperfection is okay. Shorter fasts still matter. This is why when sometimes I get pushback about, Jerome, why should I hit a timer? What's the point of hitting a timer if I'm only going to do a 14-hour fast, a 16-hour fast? What's the point of hitting a timer? The point is you are still putting yourself into a good habit. The point is you are still telling yourself, I am still understanding them that I'm either eating right now or I am fasting right now. I understand that I'm still on the clock and that I will not just eat the entire day, but I will hit my timer to tell myself it is time to take a break. I do not have to eat right now. Showing up still matters. Do you want proof of why showing up still matters? I am proof. I am proof. How many times have I burnt out or felt burnt out? How many times have I had days where I ate 9,000 calories, 10,000 calories, 12,000 calories? How many times have I still showed up when I don't want to be here? How do you think I have continued to lose the weight and keep it off naturally? Because I show up, because it still counts, because it all still counts. That is proof. That is proof. When I have a bad day and I overeat, do I just lay in bed and do nothing then for the next week? No. I still get up, I go for a walk, I still make sure I sleep well, I make sure I go lift weights, I make sure I can still live my life and not let it get in my head. I do not let it get in my head that says, today sucks, everything sucks. I ate bad because I didn't fast, I didn't sleep well, work did X, Y, and Z. You give yourself excuses all day, instead of just taking the good with the bad. Taking the good with the bad. There is so much importance when it comes to that. When you're in discomfort, when you're feeling uncomfortable, sometimes we forget that we have to be feeling that way from time to time. It is okay to normalize hunger. One more time. It is okay to normalize hunger. It is okay to be hungry every once in a while. Does it mean you need to be on your deathbed starving? No, it doesn't. All I'm saying is every once in a while, we get hungry. Why? Because we are human beings, because it is part of our survival instincts. Does it mean that the moment you have a tinge of hunger, you need to go raid the fridge and eat everything? No, it doesn't. It means learning to have some control. It means learning to control your calories or your decision making when it comes to the way you eat. Take this from somebody who does not know how to really do that. Take that from somebody who has had awful impulse control. Of all the people to teach you this, you are talking to somebody who does not know how to do this perfectly. But does it mean that I walk away from this? Does it mean that I say, well, what's the point? Does it mean that I go binge for the day? You already know what the story looks like. I am a walking example, and many other people are as well, but I am currently a walking live, posting it on social media example of what imperfect consistency looks like. There is a difference between absolute being in a state of starvation, I am not going to survive if I do not eat type feeling, versus my stomach's hungry. My brain tells me I want a cookie. You know there's a difference, right? Because there absolutely is. There is a difference from feeling, oh God, it would be so nice to have an ice cream cone right now. I say that because I'm thinking about when I went to IKEA this past weekend here in the Philippines to check it out. I ended up getting a soft serve ice cream cone. There's a difference between feeling a little uncomfortable because you want dessert after your meal versus being in real danger of dying because you haven't eaten in however long. There is a clear distinct difference between the two. It is okay to feel hungry every now and then. It does not mean I am telling you you need to be on your deathbed starving. I am just saying there is a difference between being hungry, being in a little discomfort, feeling a little uncomfortable versus being on your deathbed. The big part that I stress to all of you day in and day out and day in and day out is, where is your accountability? Where are all the people who have told me, Jerome, I am doing this length of a fast and have not shown up to keep me updated? Even when I tell them, hey, that's great. But remember, if you don't get through a 3-day, a 5-day, a 7-day, a 30-day fast, make sure to still come back and tell me where you're at. How many people have told me time and time again, Jerome, I'm doing this right now. I'm this far into my fast right now. Jerome, I'm going to make sure I do this for da 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 da. And I am not trying to downplay people's goals. I want you to achieve them if you can. But where is your accountability when you can't? Everyone is always motivated at the very beginning. Everyone has their perfect game plan at the very beginning. But where is your accountability when you can't do it? Where is your accountability when you were not able to do it? Where have you been for the last month, the last 6 months? Where have you been the last year? I am, again, a perfect example of that. Where was I when I left YouTube for 2+ years? Where was my accountability then? It was in the shitter. I didn't want to show up. I was stuck binging. I locked myself in my apartment. I refused to see anybody because I was too embarrassed. I was too guilty. And I don't talk about not showing up just on YouTube. I literally locked myself in my apartment. I did not see family. I did not see friends. I did not see loved ones. My mom didn't see me for over 2 years. And that was fucking awful. I did not show up during the holidays because I felt too embarrassed, guilty, scared, ashamed, you name it. I felt it. I wanted nothing to do with it. I hid in secrecy. That is why you always hear me talk about accountability and the importance of accountability. There are probably a number of you right now who might be watching this who feel the same way. Jerome, I do that. When I eat too much, I feel bad. I don't want to be out. I don't want to be seen. I don't want to deal with anything right now. And I'm telling you, I think it's really important to tell yourself, oh shit, it's time to be accountable. Let me do something different. Are you hitting your timer? Like I said, many people do not think about the timer. They think, what's the point? The entire point of the timer is keeping yourself in check, to know that this is still important to you. Is your secrecy killing your consistency? On the days you don't fast as long as you thought you would, on the days where you overeat, on the days that you don't get your steps in, and then you say, well, fuck it, I don't want to do this anymore. And then you eat and you lay in bed and you forget about the day and you tell no one about it because you ordered Grubhub, they left the food at your door, and you're doing it in secrecy. It's killing your consistency, especially when you don't show up. I'm not saying you can't do that. I'm not saying you can't enjoy a moment if that's what you want to do, but do not do it in secrecy. Be accountable for your actions. When you come in here and you tell me you're going to do something, and I say, hey, keep us posted, let me know. I understand if you can't come here every single time. I don't expect that. But if you're in here for a reason, if you're in here for accountability and you don't show that accountability later, that's on you. Again, I'm not here to shame you on that. I'm just saying, you want accountability? I do this to help you. I do this to keep you in check. I do this to keep me in check. Do you disappear after a bad day? Do you disappear when you don't do the things that you should have done? Where is your accountability? Again, at the very bottom of this, you see, you don't suck at fasting. Your approach sucks. The way you go about it sucks. You're not going to get better at this without accountability. You're not going to get better at this without imperfect consistency. L just donated a membership to the Finally Fasting fam. I don't know who got that gifted membership, but if you did, please make sure to thank L. L, thank you for your support. Thank you for gifting a membership to somebody out there. I already see people throwing up custom emojis out there, but for anybody who has one, can we throw some F's up for L for gifting a membership? L, I appreciate you. Thank you for your continued support. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. Whoever got that, you're able to use custom emoji. You get a little different color in your name, and you get the opportunity to to say, hey, Jerome, I support you too. So, well, it's actually L who supported me there, but L, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I wanted to show all of you what a lot of this looks like. So I've told you, I've had bad days. I've had a lot of good days, but I've also had bad days. I've had bad weeks. You and I both know that I just moved to the Philippines. I can't even say just moved because I've been here now for over 2 months. But I've been here for 2 months, and it has not been the easiest 2 months in terms of my fasting, in terms of the way I eat. It took a lot for me to get over my jet lag. It took a lot for me to eat better because I've been spending time with family I haven't seen in decades. I've been venturing out on my own, doing my own thing, traveling, checking new places out, eating new foods, and my weight has pushed up. My fasts have not been as long as they have been. I've been eating more. I haven't been making the best decisions in the way I eat, but I really think it's important that I show you why showing up matters, why having a system is still important, why even though I might suck at fasting for a prolonged amount of time right now, in the grand scheme of things, it's not the worst thing in the world. So let's look as I break this down. This is my average weight over the last 7.5 months. Over the last 7.5 months. You tell me, is there much of a big change over the last 7 months? In June of 2025, my average weight was 145.2. In July of 2025, my average weight was 154.8. Now, this was the month I decided to move to the Philippines. This was the month that I actually had 2 binge eating days. This was the month that I did not know how to really show up for myself then. This was a very hard part of my life, and the weight reflects it because my bad habits came into play. But even when I couldn't show up, I eventually did. And that's when I started doing my daily live streams, where I live stream for 100 days in a row because I understood how important the accountability was. So in August of 2025, that weight pushed itself back down as I got myself back into a regular groove. When I got myself back into being accountable. My average weight, 149.2 in August. In September, 146.1. In October, 143.1. In November, my average weight was 141. And even during the second half of November was when I moved to the Philippines. And that is the lowest average weight I think I've had, if I'm looking at my notes correctly here, my own stats, because I don't have every single month. In June of 2024, my average weight was 140.7. So those are 2 of the lowest average weights I've had. In December, 146.3. And that was also a very rough month for me. That was Christmas, the holidays. That was me being here in Manila. That was me still getting over jet lag. There was a lot happening for me then. And then currently in January, my current weight average is 147. Look at the fasting times as well. They're no longer 90 hours. They're not even 65 hours. Look at the month of January for the first half of this month. They're not even ADF right now. They're averaging 30 hours because right now I am eating 4 times a week. I'm only fasting three days a week. I share this because I want you to understand over these last 8 months, there have been days where I overate. There have been days where I didn't sleep well. There have been days that I binged. There have been days that I fell off. There are days where I didn't want to show up. There are days where I couldn't be accountable. But all of that, including days where I did fast, including days where I did show up, including days where I live streamed for 100 days in a row. That is imperfect consistency. Why does my weight stay pretty much the same? Because every day I still put effort into what I'm doing. There are days in there where I ate 8,000 calories, 10,000 calories, 12,000 calories. But I don't walk away from it. The proof is right here. I still hit my timer. I still log my weight. I still share how I feel. I don't walk away from this. I do not keep this in secrecy anymore because I know the moment that I keep things secret, you'll see a month like July where I binged and I ended up pushing up my weight because I had old habits fall back. I could not keep myself in a place of accountability then. You don't suck at fasting, but your approach probably does. Because we're not just talking about fasting, we're talking about the way you eat, we're talking about how often you eat, the choices you make when you eat, how long you're eating for. You might suck at that. Are you getting your steps in? Are you working on keeping your muscle, retaining your muscle, building muscle? Are you getting good sleep? Are you getting enough rest and recovery for the evening? Are you taking care of the mental part of what you're doing? I know there are a lot of people who are like, I don't care about that. I just want to fast because fasting is the only. Listen, if you can do it, that's fine. But what about when you can't? Then what? What are you doing? Why are you not working on your other levers of weight loss? That is the important part for a lot of this. I have been there. Yes, fasting was the only thing that was important for me back then too, because it's what I knew how to do. So I cannot fault anybody if they want to pull that lever and push it. Pull that lever and push it. I mean, put effort into it. I hope that as you watch this, as you hear about my journey, as you move on with your own, that you can pick this up early instead of finding it out later. If I had these skills in my 20s, if I had the knowledge I have today in my 20s, who knows how long I would have kept this in check. But I didn't. And like I said, I have no regrets because I've learned about myself over time. I've learned how important imperfect consistency is for me. I've learned how important it is to be accountable. That is something that you do not learn overnight. That is something that is learned through practice, that is learned through doing, that is learned through being accountable, through showing up. That is why I do this on the regular. I find that very important. I hope you get to take that along with you too. And I know that it works. I know that it works. I have coached many people at this point who have hit maintenance, who have hit their goal weight, who are now in a place of, hey, this is the hard part too, keeping the weight in check, learning about myself, learning about what bad behaviors or what bad habits I still have that are outside of food. Because trust me, when you figure the food part out, when you get your weight down, and then you are now figuring out, how do I keep my weight in check? You will start to unravel other layers of yourself that do not revolve around food. When you no longer have food to cope, when you no longer use food to handle stressful situations, when you no longer use food to handle your emotions, you will realize, you'll be like, oh my God, I have some real shit I still have to deal with. At least that's what I figured out over time. Maybe not. Maybe once you figure that out, you'll be good. I would love that. I'm just saying, sometimes you start to unravel more about yourself because you have used food as that barrier to soothe yourself, at least for me, for pretty much my entire life. So that's why you suck at fasting. You don't really suck at fasting. Like I said, it's your approach at it that sucks. That's something that will take time for you to figure out. And that's why we do this. That's why I share what I do. That's why I encourage other people to talk. That's why I keep a safe space for people in here. That's why I don't tolerate bullshit from other people, because I think it's really important that we have a place that we can help and encourage each other, because I don't think it's talked about enough. People can talk about all day, just eat this, just fast this way. Yeah, I can tell you that too. You want to lose weight? If you're watching this right now and you're like, I don't want to hear this bullshit, I just want to learn how to lose weight. You want to learn how to lose weight? Don't eat. Eat 0 calories for as long as you can. And then when you're hungry and you can't do it anymore, eat really clean. Eat as little as you can, and then go eat 0 calories again. It's not rocket science. It's the other part that's hard. It's the showing up that's hard. It's doing it long-term and sustainably. That's the hard part. That's why I find all these other layers super, super important. Okay, let me go ahead. Let me spend time here, talk to other people in chat. I know I kind of went off on a rant there, but I really found the content I was putting together today really important. I know I talk about a lot of the same things and I feel like I regurgitate it, but trust me, as I put this stuff together, and even sometimes when I'm like, this sounds really repetitive, it's useful. At least it's useful to me. And sometimes there are little nuggets of truth where I'm like, yeah, I really never thought about it like this. So hopefully as you watch this, that you get to take a lot from this and work on yourself along the way. Kevin says here, hello, fasting fam, 92 hours into a 130. Kevin, it's nice to see you back on the grind. Last Saturday, I finished my first 155-hour fast. Well, you're not just back on the grind. You literally finished your 155. Back from the holidays with a 1-pound loss. Not going to lie, that hurt. I can only imagine fasting for that long and only dropping a pound. But remember, Kevin, it's not so much that, it's more you're putting your good habits back into play. You are putting yourself at a severe caloric deficit, so the results will show. Remember, think about your non-scale victories. Kevin, another reminder for you as well is, if you are only focused on the number on the scale, start looking at your non-scale victories. Are you putting on clothes that are tighter and taking a photo of yourself in it, or taking a photo of yourself with either your shirt off or in your underwear, right? Having something that shows what progress looks like outside of just a number on the scale. So keep that in check. But congrats on getting your fast back down. It's nice to see you keeping us updated on where you're at. Maggie says 7 hours into my ADF. Saturday will be a 20% day. Me too, Maggie. I have now left all my Saturdays for 20% days. Tomorrow is a Saturday for me, so I'll be going out. But keeping to my 4 hour window, got my 10,000 plus steps in today. Congrats to you, Maggie. Congrats to you on being so consistent on doing your ADF. Maggie also keeps us posted on our Wednesday evening live streams for our autophagy members. So keep going, Maggie. Appreciate you sharing. Let me see here. Who else? Who else? I saw this earlier and I was like, the writer says, I hope Jerome shows us pics of Manila again. So as I saw that, I was like, let me see if I have anything recently. So we'll take a minute here. We'll take a break from the fasting talk for a second. But last week or earlier this week, I ended up going to Mall of Asia, which is like the second biggest mall in Asia. I think it's ranked number 6 in the world or whatever. But I was riding the bus because I take public transportation everywhere. I've been taking the train here now. I walk everywhere. I ride the bus. But I was on a packed bus earlier this week. And this bus had once the bus is full, I believe there were 2 of these seats. And these are just mini seats that come out of another seat. And so somebody sat in the middle. And the first thing I thought to myself was, isn't this a fire hazard? Isn't this something that shouldn't be? But somebody got an extra seat. I did think it was very rude, though, because once we got to our destination, he got up and didn't even put the seat back. And the guy sitting to the left had to pull that up. But anyway, I just thought it was really interesting because we don't have anything like that in the States. I also have this video here. I was on a Ferris wheel at Mall of Asia, and it was just it was just looking out to the sea. The other side was the city. But I thought I would share that because there's also a clip of just me walking to the Ferris wheel. And it's just a whole boardwalk there, just a bunch of shops, a bunch of places to eat, like games that kids can play. And then I think the only other thing I had here was one night I was going for a walk and it just looked really pretty out, and that's it. So I thought I'd just share that before I cut back into chat here. So, okay, let me scroll down. Let me see where people are at. Happy Bunny says, hi, day 111. Love to hear it, Happy Bunny. Went to the gym, went swimming. The next day, I couldn't recover. Eating is not very clean. Ate ice cream and cake. I was having cravings, and I don't know why I gave in. I mean, there are a lot of reasons that we give in. There are a lot of reasons I give in to the way I eat, to the uncontrolled eating I sometimes have, or I have a lot. And it's because it's just a habit that I'm used to doing. In the moment, it feels good to eat that way. In the moment, I cannot control. That is something that I am continuously working on. And I say that to you, Happy Bunny, as somebody who's been doing this now for over 2 years. I tell you this because in my 45 years of life, I haven't ever really had good control at that. And I continue to still struggle at that. So I just hope you understand that these days will happen. These are your imperfect days. These are days where at least you're talking about it. At least you can put some thought into what you're doing and know that it's an issue and you need to be better about it. I love that you still went to the gym, you did cardio, you're taking care of yourself. Again, these are levers you need to continue working on day in and day out. So keep us posted, Happy Bunny. I appreciate you sharing. Ashley says, it's so hard restarting. Like after a cycle, it's hard getting back into another cycle. So Ashley, I don't know your story exactly, but when you say it's so hard restarting, are you talking about getting back into a longer fast? Because then my advice for you is, let's say you finished a 3 day fast and then you're saying you ate and then it's hard to get back into another 3 day fast. My advice to you is don't go back into another 3 day fast. If that means that you have to hit your timer and fast for 14 hours, fast for 14 hours. All that means then is when it's time to eat, you better eat clean. You don't have to eat clean, but if you want to reap the results of losing continuous excess body fat, you're eventually going to have to fix the diet part. And then when you have the motivation, when you feel good enough to fast for longer, you fast for longer. Because yes, this is a very recurring question. This is something that many people talk about all the time. It's hard getting back into another longer fast. Why? Because it's not easy. That's why when I tell people, when people tell me, Jerome, I want to do what you did. You want to fast for 90 hours for 5 months in a row? I mean, go ahead. But I also understand that the difficulty of doing that is high. It is not for everyone. So this is, again, an opportunity to share with you, Ashley, imperfect consistency. Whatever you're fasting for previously doesn't mean you have to do it again. Even if it means it's a 12-hour fast. Even if it means it's a 12-hour fast and then you have to eat 2 meals, try to eat those meals clean. Try to eat less during that time. If you overeat or you eat enough, then just say, well, I ate those calories, let me put it to use. Let me make sure I sleep well tonight so when I get up in the morning, I can go to the gym and lift weights. I can go for an extra mile run, an extra 2 kilometers. You see how I'm starting to talk kilometers and talk kilograms now that I moved here to Manila? I'm getting used to the lingo outside of the States. So if anything, Ashley, keep me posted on your journey. Maybe that'll be helpful being accountable in that way. Maybe you'll realize being accountable is also a really good way for you to get back into the groove of what you're doing. Sorry, everyone. I'm just reading through the notes here. I appreciate each other. I appreciate all of you sharing your journey and helping each other and being kind to each other. It means a lot to me to see that. Erica, hey Erica, how's it going? I'm about to be on day 5 of my 21-day fast. It's hard, but I'm feeding myself with great things. Videos like this, scripture, I'm being accountable to myself and God, had crutches, but no food. Good luck to you, Erica. Erica, it's always nice to see you. I always appreciate when you're able to pop on. I appreciate you sharing your journey with us. Congrats on being almost 5 days into your 21-day fast. Keep us posted. And I say this again, like I said earlier, whether you get through the 21-day fast or not, and remember, I'm not saying you will not. I would love for you to be like, Jerome, I did it. I made it through 21 days. I would love to hear it. I can't wait until you tell me. But for whatever reason, if it's not 21 days, you know what that process looks like. Refeed, keep it clean if that's what you want to do, and then go back into it again. It doesn't have to be 21 days. Maybe it just means working on eating better, your exercise. You know how this goes. You and I have talked before, Erica. So thank you for sharing with us. I would love to hear how your journey goes as time continues. I'll be live streaming again on Sunday at 7:30 p.m. Central. So I'd love to hear you tell me about you being a week into it. So keep all of us posted. Appreciate you being here, Erica. Thank you for sharing with us. Appreciate you. Hi, Mrs. Angeles. I don't know if I said hi. Hey, Eric, how's it going? Eric says, good morning, all. 2 hours into my morning walk, I remembered about the live. Eric, it's always nice to see you. Eric, you're always on here. So I appreciate you being here. Hopefully things are doing well with you. Adiva, or is it Addie, says it's important to keep talking about those things. I agree. And that's why I'll keep hammering it on and on and on, because not only do I know that it's helpful for others, but I really understand the importance of it for me as well. And so it's a reminder for myself too. So I appreciate that. Thank you for letting me know. The writer says, "What brought on this rant, Jerome? Something happened." Nothing happened. These are some days I just feel very motivated. Yesterday, I ate a lot. And after eating a lot and still having a hard time controlling my calories, I was like, I wonder what my average weight has been over time. Have I really put on a ton of weight over that time? And that's the thing. I noticed, like, yeah, I'm up in weight, but it's not a crazy amount. And I feel like a lot of it was minimized because of me still showing up, me still fasting where I could, me still getting my steps in, me still lifting weights. The fuck you looking at? That's that's how I read it when I saw your name. Is there a video with instructions on how exactly to do fasting for a long time? I mean, I have a lot of videos out there. I think one of my more popular videos is how I am able to prolong my fast. So I would maybe take a look at that. I offer a lot of advice and tips on how to do that. But if you want instructions on just how to fast for a long time, it's just to do it. And I know that sounds really asinine, but what I like to tell people is you hit your timer. Let's say you finish eating dinner. Let's say it's 6:30 p.m. because you're old like me and you eat dinner early. I usually eat dinner later than that. But let's say you finish eating at 6:30 p.m. and then you go to bed at 9:30 because again, you're old like me. And then you wake up at 5 or whatever, right? By then you're like 11, 12 hours fasted. You skip breakfast, you're 16 hours fasted. You want to fast for longer? That's entirely up to you. But Jerome, how do I fast for longer? Drink your water, take your electrolytes. I do something like have a black iced coffee. That helps me. I do something like a 0-calorie drink every now and then. That helps me. What's a 0-calorie drink? Sometimes I drink black iced coffee. Sometimes I drink an unsweetened iced tea. Sometimes I drink a Coke Zero, a Diet Dr. Pepper, although I don't think they have them here in the Philippines. I drink, they have here in the Philippines, they have a Royal Orange, zero sugar, orange pop. I drink that sometimes. They have Sprite Zero here. They don't have a lot of diet drinks here. A sparkling water. But Jerome, I heard that fuck what other people say. Do what works for you. If it helps keep you in a prolonged state of fasting, do it. But Jerome, that doesn't count. I don't care if you think it doesn't count. I am telling you that you need to work on you. Do what works for you. If it puts you in a severe caloric deficit to push your fast, do that. Keep doing that. It doesn't mean you have to do that the next day. It doesn't mean that you have to do that on day 7 of your fast or day 12 of your fast. I'm just saying if that helps prolong it, do it. It doesn't mean that it has to be like that every day. You don't want to drink that anymore? You don't have to. But you might as well try it and see if it pushes you further, because then all of a sudden you have a new tool that you can use. Is it pure water fasting? Are the fasting gods going to strike down upon you because you didn't drink or you ate a little bit of something that is not in the scripture for them? Who cares? So that would be my advice when it comes to that. And I'm going off on a rant when it comes to that too. Nessa just donated a $10 donation, or a $10 super chat Canadian. Nessa, thank you so much for the super chat. Nessa with the $10 super chat says, "Oh man, I made the live. I'm currently on my second 80+ hour fast in my personal challenge. Congrats to you, Nessa. I love that. So back to back, right? Back to back 80 plus hour fasts. Fought off so many temptations today. I'm so proud of myself. I'm proud of you. I'm sure there are a lot of people who are in here who are proud of you as well. Down 7 pounds and feeling so great. Love y'all. Nessa, what's the plan moving forward? Is the plan then to just keep rolling this way? Is the plan to just keep it flexible? What's the big goal here? So keep us posted. Nessa, thank you so much again for the $10 Canadian super chat. I'm glad you were able to make the live. I appreciate the support. I appreciate you sharing your story with us. Actually, I appreciate that you've been here so consistently now too, because I know you had taken some time and right, maybe you were feeling a certain type of way, but here we are now, midway through January. Keep it going. Keep it going. Appreciate the support. Thank you again for the super chat. Appreciate you. Let me scroll down. Where am I at? Oh God, I lost my place now because I switched over. Damn it. Let me see. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry, everyone. Oh, did I miss this? Middle Age Grind says, did another 26-hour fast this week, working towards a 5-day fast. Keep us posted, Middle Age. Congrats on 26 hours in. Is the goal 5 days? Is that like what you're working towards, like as your big goal to push a longer fast? I'm just curious. Keep us posted. Angie, Jerome, hello all. Day 4 of a 7-day fast, and then roll into rolling 72s. Angie, I love that for you. Congrats on being 4 days in. Angie, you and I need to talk. I know you and I have been exchanging emails. You and I need to talk. So, congrats on 4 days in. Keep me posted. Again, I need to email you back. So I know you and I, we need to talk. So keep me posted. Congrats on being 4 days in. But like I said earlier, you know how this goes. If it's not 7 days, you know what the plan is. And I know you know this. You and I talk about this all the time. So I'm sure we'll be talking soon. Thanks for sharing, Angie. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for being here. It's nice to see you. Let me see here. Andrew says, showing up today, ate big, went to the gym, lifted big. And I know, Andrew, we had talked on Wednesday's autophagy, and, just to share, Andrew's really good at pushing long fasts, but in a lot of ways, still, when it comes to maybe the control of eating or the diet part, it can be difficult. Worked with my RD, realized my macro tracker was setting targets way too low and was messing with my head. Fix that. Gonna keep showing up. I appreciate you sharing, especially the fact that Andrew had talked about seeing a dietitian, right? And making sure that getting the support he needs for what he needs to do. Trying to pull all the levers when it comes to figuring out your health and wellness journey. Because again, this isn't just about fasting. It's also about the way you eat, exercise. And so even for Andrew to talk about lifting big because he knew he ate big, all of that comes into play. Thanks for sharing with us, Andrew. I appreciate you showing up. I appreciate you sharing that when, like I've said before, a lot of times people don't want to show up when we are not doing the things that we consider good. It's hard. It's a hard thing to get over, to show up when we are not doing what we thought we should be doing. Usman. Hi, Usman. I know you post here every once in a while. Jerome, what do you think about Ozempic? I've talked about this a lot of times. What do I think about it? I think you should do you. I think if that will help curb your food noise and you are in a place where you just cannot control your habits or your impulses or your type 2 diabetes is out of control, listen, you do you. Talk to your doctor. See what's best for you. But I will say this again. If you are somebody who is considering something like this, the question you also need to ask yourself is, how are your habits? Are they in a good place? Do you have control when it comes to your eating? Are you doing good, healthy habits that will contribute to your overall health and wellness journey? If the answers to that are no, if you suck at control, if you suck at other things in your life, like you can't get your steps in, you can't lift weights even after eating a lot, you can't sleep well because you're up late at night doom scrolling. If you don't have your habits in place, yes, Ozempic, I'm sure any kind of GLP-1 or peptide can be helpful. And again, I can only speak so much about it because the only experience I have with it is with other people I coach. And the only common denominator that I find with a lot of people is sometimes people don't put their habits into play. They have not worked on their habits. They have not worked on being accountable. And Usman, I see you here every now and then asking questions. And that's a question for you. Where are your habits? Where's your accountability? That was earlier on my live stream. Where's your accountability? If you say you're going to do something, do you do it? If you don't do it, what are you doing as a backup plan? So what do I think about GLP-1s? What do I think about peptides? I think they can be super helpful. But I also understand that for many people, if you do not have good habits, if you have not fixed that part of your brain, if you do not know how to be accountable, that's still something that at the end of the day is still really important to have. That's still something I tell people, well, why don't you work on that first and see where that takes you? And then if that's what you want to consider after, even if it doesn't work, then yeah, sure. Because for a lot of people, I think if that takes the food noise out, hey, I'm not here to judge. You have to do what's best for you. I just know for me personally, when I was offered this back in 2022, I believe, because when I went to my doctor, he was like, your type 2 diabetes is out of control. I was refusing to even just take my metformin because I didn't want to take any medication because I'm just stubborn like that. And when my doctor presented Ozempic to me, I was like, I won't even take metformin. Why would I even take this? I'm not saying I shouldn't have taken it, but I also understood that like back then I was still very all or nothing. Back then my habits were not into check. Back then I really did not know how to practice imperfect consistency. And then I look at where I'm at today and I look about everything that I've learned. And that's why I tell people I'm 45 years old. I've been morbidly obese my entire life, but all of a sudden I'm not because I've changed my habits. I've learned to be accountable. I've learned to find something that works. Again, you do you, but I don't think there's anything wrong with working on good habits, being accountable, despite all of these other things that can help aid people in losing weight. I like to see it, Erica. I'll be there for Sunday. I'll keep checking in. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Angie, I don't go to bed at 9:30. Actually, I've been going to bed pretty late because I have a client that I work with in Chicago, and I sometimes have to be on calls. So sometimes I'm up late at night taking these Chicago calls. And I'm not talking about my coaching. I'm talking about the other work that I do outside of my YouTube stuff. So I'm up late. Like I said, Angie, you and I have to talk. You and I have to talk. Let me see here. Thanks, DBS. I appreciate you. I don't know about that awesome, but I appreciate the kind words. So let's get into the nerd stats, even though I shared a good amount of info earlier today. Today is Friday, January 16th, 2026. Today is day 803 of my journey. Yes, I know it might be Thursday night for many of you, but here in Manila, it's Friday. if you look at, I'm trying to point my finger, well, you probably can't see it there, but my messy bed, you can see the sun poking itself out there. It's about 85, 90 degrees here. It's about 30 degrees Celsius. See, I'm already getting used to different the different measurements outside of US measurements. So, um, like I said earlier, the last 803 days have not been perfect. The last 803 days have had days of imperfection, overeating, back to back eating days, very short fasting days, very big refeeds, days when I didn't want to lift or get my steps in. But it has been a journey despite all of that. There have been mostly good days during that time. And for me, the way I look at this is imperfect consistency is the key to really finding success. Why have I lost this weight and continued to keep it off for this long? Because I've been fasting for 90 hours for the last 803 days? No. Because I've been fasting for 65 hours on average for the last 803 days? No. I just told you for the last month in January, or at least for the month of January, my fasting average right now is 30 hours. It's not even an ADF right now. There are days where I'm eating back to back days. I am learning how to eat better. I am learning how to make better choices. I am learning how to use all the tools in my toolbox outside of fasting to get me to where I'm at. So as we look into those nerd stats, you will see for the month of January, my fasts have kind of been anywhere between 16 hours to around 35, 40 hours. For the month of January, my fasting average is 30 hours and 10 minutes. It isn't the long fast that you're used to seeing me doing. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't fast for long periods of time. That's not what I'm saying at all. I am just showing you the evolution of where I'm at today. From fasting for 4 days to 3 days to 2 days to now doing ADF 3 times a week and eating back-to-back days once a week. That's new. That's not something I used to do. I actually have now hard days where I fast and days where I will eat. That's different. Before it had to be don't eat back-to-back days. And now I eat back-to-back days once a week. Why? Because it works for my schedule here. It's also an opportunity for me to eat better and learn how to change the way I eat and not just rely on fasting every single time. And I know what the pushback is on this, but Jerome, fasting has worked for you. Why not just fast for long periods of time over and over and over again? And if you want the honest truth, it's because I don't want to. I am not in that place right now to just push a 90 for the sake of pushing a 90. I am also at a good weight where I am not worried about adding 5 pounds right now. I just shared with you, I think 2 live streams ago, for the first time in my entire life, I did a pull-up. Now, that probably sounds funny to people who can do pull-ups like no problem, but I have never done a pull-up in my entire life. I've never been an athletic person. I've literally spent my 20s, my 30s, and like most of my 40s until the last couple of years, sitting on a computer chair playing video games. That's pretty much been my teenage and adult life, being sedentary. So for me to finally do a pull-up unassisted for the first time ever, even for me to do dips, I can do dips unassisted. These are things I was never able to do before. I look at those as huge wins, even with the weight going up. Even as I'm currently this morning, what was I this morning? 140, because I ate last night. I think I was 148.2 this morning. And this morning I was at the gym, I was doing dips, and I just have a lot more strength than I used to. Where is my thing here? Why am I not? Oh, wait, I have my notes. I'm so stupid. I have my notes right here. I filled it out. I was 148.2 this morning. So I'm not worried about having to fast long every single time. I actually don't want to fast too long because listen, I like eating. I know I have to get better about the way I eat. And for now, I have been eating relatively clean. When I'm not having my 20% days, I'm just still eating way too much. What do you mean by that? Well, just take a look at what my last refeeds have looked like. What are these? Is this 10? 4, 5, 6, 7? These are my last 9 refeeds. Yesterday's refeed, 4,500 calories. Still not the worst. I've been trying to keep it under 4,000, but I'll take 4,500. My protein is off the charts lately. The last 3 refeeds, over 280 grams of protein. What am I eating that's doing that? I'm literally eating an entire chicken. Or I'll eat a kilo of shrimp, which is about 2 pounds of shrimp. You'll also notice my refeed times are super long. Why are they super long versus what I used to do, eating 4 hours, 3 hours? I've been doing something different lately where, for example, tomorrow's my 20% day. I'm going out tomorrow. I'm probably going to different parts of Manila, probably going to take a look at different things. But like what I've been doing on some of my days is I'll go get a coffee. I'll get a coffee with cream and sugar in it, and I'll use that to break my fast. And I'll just enjoy my coffee. And then afterwards, I won't eat. Because old Jerome would have had a coffee with cream and sugar and then got a croissant and then got some other snack and then maybe would have gotten a big breakfast and then would have snacked before lunch and then ate lunch and then ate something before dinner. And that's what I used to do. And now the last couple refeeds, as I've been pushing them longer, sometimes if I am eating clean that day, I'll have a banana or 2. I'll have maybe a protein bar, and then I won't eat for 3 or 4 hours. That's not something I used to do before. That's me doing something different. That's me working on my diet lever. That's me trying to make better choices instead of just eating snacks all day. That is a different part of me coming out that is trying something different because I know I have to get better at doing this. This is something I was not able to do before because my all or nothing brain would have said, eat everything right now, eat 10,000 calories, eat 20,000 calories. Who cares about keeping track? And that's why I used to keep my refeeds at 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't, because I still find that really, really useful. On days where I'm able to push a longer fast and eat for a short amount of time, that's very useful for me because I can just eat in that moment and be like, okay, I'm done. Time to fast again. But sometimes when I'm out and I'm doing stuff, sometimes I want to have a coffee. Sometimes I want to have something a little different. And I'm telling myself, it's okay, Jerome. You just have to control it. And even as you look at this month of January, even as you see me eating 8,900 calories, 4,600 calories, 6,300 calories, 5,100 calories, 4,000, 4,400, 7,000, 4,500. My weight hasn't gone insane. Just like I shared here, my weight has pretty much stayed the same over the last 7.5 months, with the exception of July, where I really pushed up in weight because I lost accountability, because I had binged, because I was in a place where I told myself I was going to be moving out of the country. I have to do all these things. I got overwhelmed and I let it get the best of me. But even with really good days and you see the weight push itself down and now pushing itself up a little bit, I'm not worried because I got this. I'll continue to work on this. You'll notice that the fasting average hours have dropped down. And I'm still figuring it out. This is why this is a lifelong journey for all of us. This is why you can't just turn your back away from this. This is why you can't just fast for 7 days and then think, okay, I'm good. I can just go back to my old life, because that's not the case. So even as you look at me calorie tracking, Right now, I'm at a 13,000 calorie surplus, which means I have added about 3.8 pounds of fat. But on the scale, it doesn't even show that. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean that my calories are being miscounted? Probably. I usually overestimate on purpose. I usually underestimate my protein, so I eat more protein on purpose. And that's why I say, yes, I might calorie track, but it's not accurate. It's just a guide. It's just a way to keep myself in check. That's why stepping on the scale is just a way to keep myself in check. The scale doesn't mean everything. What's more important to me is how my clothes fit, is what my non-scale victories look like, is what my blood work looks like when I go to the doctor, is how I feel, is can I climb this flight of steps and be okay, is when I went to the Mall of Asia with my pamangkin and her joa, my niece and her boyfriend, can I keep up with them? We walked 20,000 steps, I was fine. These are the things that are important to me. It's not just a number on the scale. It's not just fasting for 7 days and then bragging about it, right? You know why these things don't really impress me anymore, fasting for that long or always hitting a certain number on the scale? Because the shit is the same every day. Every day, the shit is the same. The shit gets boring after a while. There's more to life than this. That's something that's important for you to take away. Are you doing this for bragging rights? Are you doing this for a number on the scale? Or are you doing this because you want to be happy and healthy and you want to live your life and enjoy it to the fullest? I hope that eventually the latter part is what you realize is important. Don't get me wrong. I love to hear a great story. I love to hear people pushing long fasts. I love to hear people getting to their goals. That's still mine. But I'm more concerned about my DEXA scan than the weight on the scale, if I'm being honest. I'm more concerned about, hey, does that really small shirt fit me well versus what a number on the scale says? I'm more concerned about what my A1C numbers look like with my type 2 diabetes rather than a number on the scale. Those are the things that are important to me. Okay, those are my nerd stats. It's time to do fit check. If you don't know what fit check is, that's when I stand back here and that's when I show you what I look like physically, even after a 4,500 calorie day yesterday, even though I feel a bit bloated today. Why do I do that? Why do I stand back there? Because that is my way of not hiding. That is my way of not being secret about overeating. Because yes, I feel bloated. Yes, I would rather look leaner right now, but I don't want to hide that. I think it's important to be accountable in that way. Before I stand up there, just a reminder, I have been overweight my entire life. As a child, overweight. In my adolescent years, overweight. In my teenage years, I was already obese, morbidly obese. Morbidly obese in my 20s, morbidly obese in my 30s, morbidly obese in my 40s. Like I said earlier, that has been me my entire life. Why do I talk about that? Because even at 45 years old, I was able to lose all that weight and keep it off 2 years later naturally. I didn't just become morbidly obese over the last couple of years. I have been this way my entire life, and I have lost all this weight and kept it off for over 2 years naturally. No medication, no GLP-1, not Ozempic, not Mounjaro, not Wegovy, not any peptides, not through weight loss surgery. I am not on TRT or HRT. I'm not on testosterone replacement therapy. I'm not on hormone replacement therapy. And I've never had weight loss surgery. Now, I'm not saying that these things are bad. I'm not saying you should not do this. You do you. You have to do what's best for you. All I'm saying is for someone like me to be able to do this, to lose this weight and keep it off for over 2 years naturally, as somebody who has been morbidly obese his entire life, who has been able to do this now naturally, I think is a big testament of what good habits and accountability looks like. So as you watch this, or if you watch this in the future and you listen to this message, just remember, if you have not worked on your habits before, if you have not worked on accountability before, maybe it's time to make that change. Maybe it's time to at least start there before you decide on maybe something else. Or not. I'm not your fucking dad. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm just here to offer advice and be like, hey, there might be some other options. All right, let's do fit check. Again, I am up in weight. I ate yesterday. This morning I was 148.2. Let's not forget that at my 6 weeks ago, no, longer than that, November 6th, so 2 months ago, I was at my lowest weight at 135 point something. So I'm up about 10, 12 pounds right now. Although that's because I ate. So tomorrow after I fast, I'll probably be somewhere around 145, 144. So yeah, I'm still up about 8, 9 pounds. But during that time, I know I've gained a lot of lean mass. My DEXA scan has shown that. I've continued to lose excess body fat. I'm currently wearing a size extra large boys shirt. And these are, I don't know what size, 14, 16 or 12, 14 boy shorts. So I wear kids clothes because I'm short. Front shot, and again, I'm feeling a bit bloated today because I ate 4,500 calories yesterday. Side shot, right? Rear, side. Yes, I have excess skin, probably excess body fat for sure. Although when I had my DEXA scan done, it said my visceral fat here, my visceral adipose tissue was in really good numbers. So I'm out of the unhealthy range for the amount of fat here. So I believe there's a good amount that's just loose skin. Yes, I do have loose skin. I have loose skin here on my upper thighs, as I'm not trying to show too much here, but extra skin up there. I have extra skin on my upper arms. I have extra skin on my neck, and that's why I lift weights, because I think it's really important to retain muscle, to add muscle. I think it's really important to increase your metabolism that way. I'm a very big proponent of keeping your muscle. I'm a very big proponent of adding muscle when you can, because it boosts your metabolism. The more muscle you have, the more calories you burn. The more calories you burn, the more weight you lose. Or the more calories you burn, the more of an opportunity for you to eat more and not gain weight. But like I said, I do have loose skin here on my neck. As you see, it doesn't bounce back the same way. Again, up on my upper arms here. I mean, it's like I said, it's one of the reasons I lift weights, because I feel like it helps fill out that skin. And I just like the way aesthetically, I just like the way it aesthetically looks. So that's all I got. At this time, I'll do any Q&A. So if any of you have any questions that you'd like to ask, if there's anything you'd like to share, feel free to share it now, and I'll go ahead and talk about it or talk through it with you. But for in the meantime, while you might be asking, I mean, if there are no other questions or any comments, then we'll call it. But If any of you are looking for additional help when it comes to fasting, weight loss, or accountability, you can go to finallyfasting.com. You can book a one-on-one session with me. We can go over a game plan and a strategy to help you on your journey. If you are looking for an accountability partner or an accountability coach, finallyfasting.com. I've said this before, losing the weight, knowing how to do it is the easy part. I said it earlier. You want to lose weight the quickest way? Don't eat. Keep it at 0 calories. When it's time to eat as little as you can. Then go again. Simple. But the execution part is harder. Doing it long-term and sustainable is harder, especially if you think that you're just going to fast forever. Is that really a long-term solution? Finallyfasting.com if you'd like additional help when it comes to that. If any of you want to support me in an additional way, you can go to the link in the description of this live stream. You can be part of the Finally Fasting fam. What is that? It's just a way to support me. If you notice, there are some people in chat who have a different color next to their name. They have a little custom emoji. Maybe, I believe it's this one here. You also get to use other custom emoji. You get your name in the intro of this live stream, which I don't think I've updated since October, if I'm being honest. But if you also join the higher tier, you can be on our Wednesday night live streams where we have people doing this in a group coaching session manner. So it's not just me on camera. Other people will jump on. Other people will share their story, share where they're at. I've told this to many people, but there is a lot that you can learn that's not just from me. That's why I look so... I admire people who show up on my Wednesdays because they share their story. They share how they feel. They share what works for them. You'll start to realize that what works for me isn't what works for everyone. People who have been there for a while have continued to tweak and modify. Listen, there are people who are in my Wednesdays who are already at maintenance, who have hit their goal weight. And it's not because they are fasting for long periods over and over and over. It's because they've realized that showing up makes a difference. And it's really interesting to see how people have different ways of doing things. And it's really nice to just see how success can come in all different ways depending on how you do it. So if you're interested in that, check out the link in the description of this live stream. I always forget how to put those words together, but anyway. Okay, so just to see here, I see Lori said this earlier. Hi everyone, I just finished a 5-day fast. The food tasted good. Hopefully you enjoyed your refeed, Lori. Congrats on your 5-day. Love that for you. Tommy, nice to see you. Tommy says, hey Jerome, great to catch your live. You look great. Tommy, I appreciate the kind words. Thank you so much. It's always nice to see you here, Tommy. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Well, he says Bears colors. The orange. Not so much I need a dark blue. Do I have a dark blue shirt? I don't know if I do. I don't know if I took one with me when I moved here. I only took so many clothes with me before I moved out here. So I do have a bear shirt, though. I've worn the bear shirt before. I have an old school bear shirt that I brought. So I have a bear shirt, I have a Cub shirt, and I have a Bull shirt. I have multiple Bull shirts. I mean, basketball is my sport. So hopefully the Bears keep doing what they need to do. AM Fab, Lanatana, right? Hit 37-hour fast yesterday. Congrats on your 37 hours, ate OMAD today, and worked out. I love it. I love it. Another good example of it's not just a long fast, and it doesn't mean that every fast has to be as long or longer, but the fact that AM Fab did a 37-hour and then did OMAD, but then worked out is a good example of working on all your levers. Thanks for showing up today. Thank you for showing up today. I appreciate you sharing that with us. Thank you so much. Erica says, I work Wednesday nights and I didn't know it was the same. It was at the same time. Yes. So my autophagy live streams are every Wednesday night at 7:30 p.m. Central, Chicago time. I cannot name them in Manila time because I know most people are not here in Manila. But yes, I live stream to the public Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays at 7:30 p.m. Central, and then Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. Central for the autophagy live stream. So, okay, that's all I got for today. Before I go, I just want to give a very special thank you to Elle for gifting a Finally Fasting membership and to Nessa for the $10 super chat. I appreciate both of you. I appreciate your support. To my Finally Fasting fam members, thank you for your continued support. Thank you for supporting me in that way. And thank you to all my regular live stream accountability people showing up, helping each other out, talking to each other in chat. Hopefully, as you continue to watch this, that you continue working on your journey, that you know you're not alone in what you're doing, and that you've got a partner in me and others. I really believe in this community. I really think it's important that we do what we're doing. I know I'm only 13 hours into my fast right now, but I'm fasting all day today. I'm not eating at all today. I'm pushing until tomorrow. Tomorrow's my 20% day, so I'll be eating tomorrow for sure. And then I will be seeing all of you on Sunday, 7:30 p.m. Central. Will you be there? Will you keep me posted on your journey? Will you be accountable? Even when it's a bad day, can you still show up? Because remember, there's no judgment. There's no embarrassment. You shouldn't feel guilty. You shouldn't feel ashamed. You're a human being. We're all imperfect. I said this last time, but there's a lot of beauty in that. There's a lot of beauty in our imperfections. It's just a reminder that, hey, that's just life. It's going to be okay. You're going to be fine. And tomorrow will come. We just keep going. We just keep doing what we got to do. So with that being said, I'm going to do my obligatory wave goodbye. I will see you all on Sunday, 7:30 p.m. Central. Okay, I think that's it. All right. Bye, everyone. Take care.